told me you were here.
I hope you don't mind my seeking you out. Have I disturbed you?
I was just writing to my sister.
Well, if you're like me, any disturbance is welcome. I'm a bad letter writer.
You need practice, perhaps.
I wanted to talk to you.
Let's go inside, then.
No, don't do that. It's rather nice here.
Let's walk about a little, then. Did you have a pleasant ride?
It would have been pleasant if for nothing else than it brought me here.
Are you so fond of Garden Court?
Garden Court? I care nothing for Garden Court. I care only for you.
I think you've known me too short a time to be able to say that.
If I were to wait 3 months, it would make no difference. I am a judicious animal. I don't make mistakes of that kind. But when I'm touched, I'm touched for life. For life, as such. For life.
How little you know me.
Don't taunt me with that.
Well, then, how little I know you.
Well, that's different. You mean that unlike you, I may not improve on acquaintance. Well, that's possible, I suppose. But look at me. Do you honestly think that I won't try?
I like you well enough as you are. I'm not asking you to improve on my account.
Thank you for that anyway. It shows at least you don't regard me as a stranger.
Oh, no. You must never think that. I am very honored.
Oh, don't say that. What have you to do with that sort of thing?
But I am.
Well, then don't say it. Look, I don't underestimate the question. I'd rather ask it than answer it. A man that you scarcely know, coming down on you with such a thumper and saying it's for life and all. The mere fact that you have listened to me at all, I shall regard as grounds for hope.
Would you feel greatly surprised if I were to ask you not to hope at all?
It would be a feeling much worse than surprise. I don't expect you to answer outright. If I gain by waiting, I'll gladly wait.
I would be sorry to keep you in suspense.
If it's the price of happiness, I'll pay. You like me?
That must be evident.
Well, then I don't see what more you ask.
It's not what I ask. It's what I can give.
Give? If you say yes, you give me all I need.
I don't think I'd suit you. Really, I don't.
Who's the better judge of that than I? You can't be more royalist than the king.
Well, then, it isn't just that. I'm not sure I wish to marry anyone.
Oh, very likely. A great many women start out that way, but are frequently persuaded.
Ah, that's because they want to be. Don't say any more now.
No, of course not, if you don't wish it.
You've given me a great deal to think about. I will write to you soon.
Well, I won't say I'll die if you refuse me. I'll do worse. I'll live to no purpose.
You'll live to meet someone better than I.
That's fair to neither of us.
Someone worse then. I just want to collect my mind a little.
You know, I'm very much afraid of it. That remarkable mind of yours.
So am I, my lord.
I want you to help me about Isabel. And please do stop smiling like that. Now, will you do as I ask?
When you look at me in that way, Miss Stackpole, my faculties desert me. I'm left with only the strength to execute your commands.
You're trying, of course, to make fun of me. Never mind. The point is, I'm afraid she's going to marry one of these effete Europeans, and I want to prevent it.
You want me to step in quickly and marry her?
Not quite. The remedy would be more drastic than the disease. No, she should marry a vigorous young man of her own country, someone with enthusiasm for life, whose whole mode of existence is a challenge to her.
Sounds more like the recipe for a boxing match. In any case, this knight from the New World, in whom you place so much faith, can hardly be conjured out of thin air.
He's in London. His name is Caspar Goodwood.
I should have known, Miss Stackpole. I should have known.
She once gave him a great deal of encouragement, but now thinks him perhaps not good enough.
And is he?
Well, certainly, I can vouch for that.
Is she fond of him?
Well, she used to be, and if she isn't, she ought to be. He's devoted to her. I want you to invite him here.
What's he like?
The opposite of you. He's the head of a cotton factory, a very fine one.
I don't think I much like the sound of him.
Will you invite him here?
To quarrel with him?
He'd prove the better man.
The trouble with you, Miss Stackpole, is you're so appealing.
Will you?
Well, of course I will. Has anyone ever been known to refuse you anything?
Refuse her what?
I was just telling your cousin about our proposed visit to London next week, and I was asking him if he'd like to come along, too.
Would you come, Ralph?
I'd be delighted. In fact, I'd be glad of Miss Stackpole's company, London being what it is these days.
Bosh, I've walked over far worse cities than London in my time.
I believe it.
I owe it to my readers to get everything at first hand. That reminds me, I must go to Lockley and interview Lord Warburton.
Oh, he's coming to lunch tomorrow. You could fix a time then.
Well, I didn't know he was coming to lunch.
I had a note from him this morning in reply to something I had to write him about. There. Aren't they pretty?
I fell asleep. How long have you been sitting here?
Not long. What did the doctor say to you this morning?
Oh, what do they ever say? The sun is warm. Not like back home, of course. More gentle.
Do you ever regret settling in England?
No. One regrets a lot of things, but no. I never ever wanted to be English, but I guess I must have liked it here.
I think I ought to let you know that Lord Warburton asked to marry me.
Have you told your aunt?
Not yet. It seemed right that I should tell you first.
I knew about it.
About his intentions.
He saw me before he saw you. I guess he thought it was the right thing to do.
I'm glad he did.
Do you mind telling me whether you accepted him?
I said no. Not straight away. That didn't seem right. I thought about it for the rest of the day, and then wrote him a note. I had his reply this morning, saying that he would be coming over to lunch tomorrow.
Well, I told you you would be a success over here. The Americans are greatly appreciated.
I suppose it must seem tasteless and ungrateful.
Well, an old man cannot judge for a young lady. You like him, though?
Yes. But I don't wish to marry anyone just now.
Well, he's a fine man. He said some very nice things about you. I guess you didn't find him sufficiently attractive.
I suppose so. I don't know why.
Well, there's a great deal that's attractive about the idea, but, well, I don't see why the English should want to entice us away from home.
Well, we try to attract them over there.
Oh, that's different. We're short of people over there. Here, they're rather overcrowded.
You seem to have found room.
Ah, well, there's room everywhere, my dear, if you'll pay for it. I sometimes feel that I've paid too much for all this. Perhaps you also might have to pay too much.
Perhaps I might. Ralph has sung them well, hasn't he?
Oh, I've seen them countless times.
You asked to see them again.
I wanted to talk to you away from the others.
I'm truly sorry. Please believe that.
You don't seem to have any reason. I suppose that gives me a sense of injustice. After all, you've said you like me.
Is that reason enough for a marriage?
Well, it's reason enough for a start. It's a good beginning. Many happy marriages have begun with far less.
Well, there is a reason.
May I know it?
I'll tell you someday, when there's more to show for it.
Does that mean there's someone else?
No.
I can't even be glad of that. At least if there was someone else, it would be something that I could understand. You see, I really love you. Well, at least tell me why.
It will seem silly to you, but I will tell you. It's that I can't escape my fate.
Your fate?
I should try to escape it if I married you.
But why shouldn't that be your fate as well as anything else?
Because it isn't.
I see. Well, no, I don't see, but...
I can't escape unhappiness. In marrying you, I should try to.
Well, I can't deny that you'd have every assistance from me.
Sounds absurd, probably, but I know that if I'm to find happiness, I've to seek out the misery too, or at least not run from it.
And in marrying me, you would be running from misery. Well, that's a compliment I could have done without, I think.
I think it's time we left, dear. Well, I declare, if I wanted to go, he'd have to go, Miss Molyneux. If I wanted my brother to do a thing, he'd have to do it.
Oh, Warburton does everything one wants. I wish we had a gallery at Lockley. I'm so very fond of pictures.
Yes, pictures are very convenient.
They're so pleasant when it rains.
I'm sorry you've got to go, Lord Warburton. I was so looking forward to getting a great deal more out of you.
Oh, I'm not going away.
Ah, but your sister says you must. In America, the gentlemen obey the ladies.
I'm afraid we have some people for tea, dear.
Very well, my dear, we'll go.
Mr. Tudgett asked to be excused. He's feeling tired and gone to his room.
Is he all right?
Oh, I think he's just feeling tired.
Well, it appears that we must be going. Would you say goodbye to him, boss?
I'll see to your things.
Goodbye, Mrs. Touchett.
Now, I believe that Isabel has been warning you about me, Lord Warburton.
Warning?
Well, isn't that why she brought you in here to talk all alone?
Oh, dear, no. I talk of no such solemn character.
Do you think it was proper for you to leave the company and come here alone with Lord Warburton?
I saw no harm in it.
There are many things you see no harm in that cause offense to other people.
Well, I'm sorry for that. I don't like to offend people. He wanted to talk to me about something. Something private.
I may as well tell you that your uncle has informed me of your relations with Lord Warburton.
They're hardly relations. That's the strange part about it. I've only seen him a few times.
Why did you tell your uncle rather than me?
Because he knows Lord Warburton better.
But I know you better.
I'm not sure about that.
Neither am I. Particularly when you give me that conceited look. I suppose when you refuse an offer like Lord Warburton's, it's because you're expecting to do something better.
My uncle didn't say that.
Mr. Touchett, an American gentleman. I understood he was stopping here.
Ah, yes, sir. I'll have him paged.
Ah, there you are. I was inquiring for you. I got your name.
Yes, we're a little later than we expected. This is my cousin, Miss Archer.
How do you do?
How do you do?
And Miss Stackpole.
How do you do,
How
sir?
do you do?
Bantling's an old friend of mine. Let's go and have some tea, shall we? Would you order some tea for us, please?
Yes, sir.
You've been seeing the sights, have you?
We've taken in everything, Mr. Bantling. We haven't missed out a thing.
Miss Stackpole, believe it or not, is a woman reporter.
By Jove, what a splendid thing to be. I suppose you look at everything and then write down your impressions.
Roughly like that, yes. But I don't have much sympathy with inanimate objects. I was hoping Mr. Touchett would introduce me to some of your public men.
Well, I showed you Lord Nelson.
Well, exactly, and he was on the top of a column 100 feet high and clearly not in the mood for conversation.
I can't just walk in on them, you know.
A bit difficult, what?
In America, I should simply call in the gentleman and tell him I'd heard a great deal about him and I'd come to see for myself.
I say, you wouldn't, would you?
Well, Miss Stackpole has an advantage being a member of the press.
Have you been stopping at Garden Grove?
Yes, it was very kind of Mr. Touchett to invite me, but I really feel I must be moving on now.
She has a duty to her readers, you know.
Oh, rather. In any case, it must be a bit quiet down there with Mr. Touchett being so bad.
Yes, it's a great shame. He's a very dear man.
If you like a house where there's always something going on, why don't you go and stop with my sister? She'd be delighted to have you.
Where does she live?
In Bedfordshire. Lady Pencil. She writes a bit herself. I'll ask her to invite you.
Oh, my goodness, I've just remembered I'm supposed to be having tea with the Climbers.
The who?
Minnie Clymer and her sister, they're from Delaware. I met them in the street yesterday afternoon, and I promised I'd go and have tea.
Where are they staying?
Knightsbridge. Now, you needn't trouble yourselves. I can find my own way, and I shall probably stay and have dinner as well.
Ah, then I shall eat at my club.
Not with Isabel.
Well, my cousin has hinted at a wish for a quiet evening on her own.
I simply said I thought I'd retire early this evening.
As I said, hinted. I'll get you a cab.
No need to bother. A brisk walk will do me good.
But you can't walk all the way to Knightsbridge.
What you mean is I can't walk alone. Merciful heavens, have I come to this?
I meant it's too far.
There's no need for you to walk alone, Miss Catchpole. I shall be greatly pleased to walk with you.
It's a long walk, Henrietta.
I tell you what we'll do. We'll walk part of the way, and then I'll find you a cab.
A very suitable compromise. Come along, Mr. Bantling. I'll see you both at breakfast.
She's made a conquest. It may go far.
Oh, I don't think so. They couldn't possibly understand each other.
Oh, mutual misunderstanding is the basis of every sound marriage, I'm convinced. May I ask you something?
Ask me what?
Warburton told me you'd refused him.
Well, it was only natural he should.
Yes, we're very old friends, and he was desperately disappointed.
Has he asked you to speak to me?
No, of course not. He wouldn't do that. I'm just greatly interested in all that you do.
I'm much obliged.
Well, why shouldn't I be? What's the use of being your cousin if I don't have a few privileges? Look at me. What am I? A spectator at the game of life because I'm not fit enough to take part. When you're given a free seat, you feel obliged to make use of it.
I didn't wish to marry him.
Well, I know that. What I want to know is, what was it you said to yourself? Because from every angle, he's what's known as a good catch. Apart from his wealth, one could scarcely fault him as a human being.
I refused to marry him because he's too perfect then.
Ah, that's ingenious rather than candid. As a fact, you think nothing in the world too perfect for you.
You mean I think highly of myself?
No, but you're exacting. Perhaps you don't know he's been stalked.
No, and I don't wish to. You sound disappointed.
No, I'm glad in a way.
Why?
Because I'm fascinated to see what a young lady does who won't marry Lord Warburton.
Then your attitude's no different from your mother's.
On the surface, perhaps. But the important thing to me is it keeps the ball in play.
not sure I understand you properly. But if you're looking for something grand from me, you'll be disappointed.
I don't think so.
Well, let me say that I simply didn't wish to tie myself down. There are other things a woman can do.
Nothing so well. But then you're many-sided. You'll surprise us all. Well then, the world interests you, and you want to throw yourself into it. That's splendid.
I never said that.
Yes, you did. Don't repudiate it. It's fine.
You look tired. Why don't you go to your room for a rest?
Now I see why you wanted to retire early this evening. You know, when people forget what a poor, frail creature I am, I'm often put out. But it's worse when they remember it.
You come this way, sir? Oh, thank you, sir.
Come in. How did you know I was here?
Miss Stackpole said that you'd probably be alone this evening.
Where did she see you to tell you that?
She left me a note.
It was very wrong of her.
Well, I'm here now. May I not sit down? I warned you that you would see me again. Are you enjoying your visit with your uncle?
What good do you hope to get by insisting?
The good of not losing you.
You can't lose what isn't yours. You ought to know when to leave one alone.
I can't reconcile myself to that.
If you would only leave things alone for a while, we might be on good terms again. Oh, I can't abide this blundering after me as if I were a butterfly. Nor this air of knowing what's better for me than I do myself.
What you ask is impossible.
Aren't you capable of making an effort? You're strong in everything else. Why not that?
If one is strong, one loves the more strongly.
Then think of me or not as you please, only leave me alone.
Until when?
A year or two. Don't you see I am not ready?
Well, which do you mean? Between 1 year and 2, there's a world of difference.
Call it 2, then.
And what do I gain by that?
You will have obliged me greatly.
And that is to be my reward?
Do you need a reward for an act of generosity?
Yes, if it involves a sacrifice.
There's no generosity without a sacrifice. Men don't understand these things.
I don't give a cent about obliging you with nothing to show for it. When will you marry me? That is the only question.
Never, if you go on the way you do.
What do I gain then by not trying to make you feel otherwise?
You'll gain as much as by worrying me to death. Don't you understand? It's no kindness to a woman to press her so hard, to urge her against her will. I really don't want to marry now, or talk about it. It's not my fault. I can't marry you just to please you. Well, have some regard for me.
Very well then. I'll leave you alone. I'll go home tomorrow. Only you'll marry someone else as sure as I'm sitting here.
Is that generous?
Plenty of men will try to make you. The most dazzling of all will make straight for you.
As to that, I can't prophesy. I can hardly think of myself as a wonderful match. But if you think I'm eagerly awaiting some dazzling offer, then you are wrong.
No. No, I don't think that.
And I don't need the aid of a clever man to teach me how to live. I can find that out for myself.
To live alone? Or when you have, perhaps you'll teach me.
You ought to marry.
May God forgive you.
You do me a great injustice. I shan't be an easy victim.
Not for me, certainly.
And for others. I refused a proposal last week, one that I think most girls would have accepted.
To an Englishman?
To an English nobleman. So you're not so alone as you imagine.
What do I care about him?
Then I'm sorry I told you, since it matters so little to you.
Isabel, if you were thinking of me when you refused him,
I was thinking of you. A little.
May I see you again?
I can't ask you to come down to my uncle's.
Now you must do me a justice. I was invited, and I declined.
Invited? Who invited you?
Your cousin, though the suggestion came from Miss Stackpole. I declined because it didn't come from you.
Then you did right. And I'm grateful for it.
Where will you go when you leave there?
To Florence with my aunt. And other places.
You'll see the world?
Why not? I'm poor, but I'm not bound to be timid or conventional. I want to choose my fate, not have it chosen for me. I want to be that independent at least. But let me say this, since you're afraid I'll marry someone else. If ever you hear a rumor to that effect, remember what I said tonight, and doubt it.
Well, then, I'll go home. But I'll come back, wherever you are, in 2 years.
I promise nothing.
Morning.
Morning.
You enjoy your visit to the climbers?
Splendidly. I also took a great fancy to your Mr. Bantling. I think he's charming. He told me so many things.
Yes, he's very knowledgeable.
And he talked extensively about the royal family. I don't know that what he said is much to their credit, but he claims that that's just my peculiar way of looking at things.
And is it?
I shouldn't think so for a minute, but I think he's very entertaining, and I've decided to stay on in London and await his sister's invitation.
Your readers are in for a treat.
They'll get a clear view of one side of English life, and that's what I'm after. Did you know that he was here last night?
Mr. Bantling?
No, Mr. Goodwood.
No, thank you. Mr. Goodwood was here. Did she know he was coming?
No, I left him a note at his hotel. Isabel was furious, of course, but I can't help that. I have to do what I think is right.
Naturally. What happened?
She sent him away, back to America.
Poor Mr. Goodwood.
Her one idea seems to be to get rid of him.
Poor Mr. Goodwood.
Now, you don't say that as though you really meant it.
You must remember, I don't know this interesting young man.
Well, I intend to see him to tell him not to give up hope.
This telegram was at the desk for you, Ralph.
Good morning.
Good morning, Henrietta. What is it?
My father, he's had a severe attack.
Well.
There's a 2:45 express. I'll take that. You don't need to come.
Of course I'll come. I don't suppose I'll be of much use, but if he's ill, I'd like to be near him.
Come in.
How is he?
Did my niece come back with you?
Yes, she's in her room. Poor Daddy. Have you been with him all the time? You must be tired. I'll take over. It'll be hard to get used to.
It'll be worse for you in a way.
That was very beautiful.
You don't think I disturbed Mr. Touchett, then? His room's so far away, and I did play softly.
I'm sure if he heard it, he could only feel better.
I'm afraid there are times when even Schubert has nothing to say to us. Forgive me, but are you the niece, the young American?
I'm my aunt's niece.
Then we're compatriots. I'm Selina Mel, a friend of your aunt's. I've heard a great deal about you.
From her?
And from your uncle. I've been here 3 days, and I saw him when I arrived. Yes, it's a great shame. But then we're none of us immortal. I suppose that's the hardest thing in life to learn. Do sit down.
You play very beautifully.
Oh, no. I play well. I also paint well and write well. But if I had to earn my living at them, I'd be in a sorry plight. But tell me about America.
I thought you said you were an American.
Oh, no, only in a manner of speaking. I was born, believe it or not, in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. My father was an officer in the Navy. But I've lived in Europe since I was a child.
There seem to be a great many Americans living in Europe.
Yes. Yes, it's a pity. We've no natural place here. We're not good Americans, and we're certainly poor Europeans.
Did you marry here?
Yes, I was married to a Swiss.
Where do you live now?
In Florence, mostly, and Rome. I understand you're going there.
Yes, with my aunt.
She's an extraordinary woman. You know, she lives in a medieval palace that will give anyone else the horrors. Still, I'm sure you'll be fascinated to see it.
Oh. I suppose you ladies have got acquainted.
We have indeed. I find your niece exquisite.
Well, you'll be seeing a good deal of each other during the next few days. I've ordered dinner for 7 o'clock. I don't suppose you and Ralph had much lunch.
Oh, then I must go and change. Don't pour for me. Will you excuse me?
You mustn't think it strange that she stays here at a time like this. She's the most tactful woman I know.
She seems to me a most remarkable woman.
It's a favor to me that she stays. She's not in need of shelter.
I can believe that. What happened to her husband?
He passed on. It was the only considerate thing he ever did. No good mincing matters. His faults were universally known.
Oh, I see.
She's a most gifted woman. She knows everyone, she goes everywhere, and what a woman needs to know, she knows. Your sister Lily asked me to give you plenty of opportunities. Well, I'm giving you one and introducing you to her. And I may as well say I'm not at all sorry that Miss Stackpole decided to stay in London. She'll be much less noticeable there.
Who is that with me? Is it my son?
Yes, Daddy, it's me.
And is there no one else?
No, no one else. We'll have you sitting up in no time.
Not unless you bury me in a sitting posture, like the ancients used to do.
Don't talk like that. You mustn't deny you're getting better.
There will be no need my denying it if you don't say so. Why should we prevaricate just at the last? We have never prevaricated before. I want to talk a little.
Won't it tire you?
I shall have a long rest soon enough. I want to talk about you.
Choose a brighter topic.
You were always bright. I used to be proud of your brightness. I would like so much to think that you would do something.
If you leave us, I shall do nothing but miss you.
You must get new interests.
I have more old ones, Daddy, than I know what to do with.
You'll have your mother. You will take care of her.
My mother will always take care of herself.
Still, as she gets older...
I'll not see that. She'll outlive me.
Still, she...
Now, don't trouble yourself about us. We get on very well, you know.
Well, she'll have more money. I've left her a good wife's portion, just as if she had been a good wife.
She has been, Daddy. According to her own lights. She's never troubled you.
Some troubles are pleasant. Like the ones you have given me. You'll be very well off, you know.
I know. But I hope you remember the talk we had. I told you what money I'd need and begged you to make good use of the rest.
Well, you'll have more than enough for one. Enough for two.
That's too much.
Don't say that. The best thing you could do would be to marry. What do you think of your cousin?
Do I understand you to propose that I marry Isabel?
Well, it comes to that in the end, I suppose. Don't you like her?
I'd like her very much.
Well, then. I know she likes you. She told me so.
Did she say she would like to marry me?
No, but she can't have anything against you. Are you in love with her?
No. No, I'm not in love with her. But I might be if things were different.
If you wait for things to change, you will never do anything. I suppose you know she refused Warburton. It shows that there is a chance for somebody else.
Someone else took his chance the other day and got nothing by it. No, Daddy, I've few convictions, but one of them is that someone in an advanced stage of pulmonary disorder had better not marry.
Go to hell with your lungs. You have been a good son to me. I want to provide for you. You say you have so many interests, but I can't make them out.
I take a great interest in my cousin. I'd like to do something for her.
What?
I'd like to put some wind in her sails.
What do you mean by that?
I'd like to put it into her power to do some of the things she wants. I'd like to put some money in her purse.
I've thought of that. I've left her a legacy, £5,000.
That's fine, I thought you would. But I'd like to do a little more. Isabel's poor. My mother says she has but a few $100s a year. I'd like to make her rich.
And what do you mean by rich?
Well, I call people rich when they're able to meet the requirements of their imaginations. Isabel has a great deal.
So have you.
You tell me I've enough money for two. Divide my inheritance in half and give her half.
To do just as she pleases,
Absolutely.
without any condition.
Well, what condition could there be?
That she marry you, for instance.
No. It's to avoid that sort of thing that I make the suggestion. See, with an income, she'll never have to marry for support. She wants to be free. This will make her free.
Well, you seem to have thought it out, but why leave it to me? The money will be yours. Why don't you give it to her?
Dear Daddy, I can't offer Isabel money.
And you say you're not in love with her. Are you sure you want me to have the credit?
Absolutely.
I'll have to make a new will.
I can get your solicitor here in the morning.
He'll think we've been arguing. All right, but I'm not sure I like it. Wind in her sails. Aren't you afraid of putting too much?
I'd like to see her going before the breeze.
You make it sound as if it were for your own amusement.
In a way.
When I was a young man and cared for a girl, I wanted to do more than just look at her. You have scruples I shouldn't have had, and ideas, too. Does it occur to you that the young lady might fall victim to fortune hunters?
She'll hardly fall victim to more than one.
Well, one is too many.
Agreed, it's a risk. But in her case, I think it's a small one, and I'm willing to take it.
I'm not sure we should make things so easy for a person.
That depends upon the person. If the person's good, your making it easy is all to the credit of virtue.
Well, you certainly worked it all out. But I don't see what good you'll get out of it.
The same good as she does. I shall have met the requirements of my imagination.